Welcome back to the LCS, where Dignitas will take on 100 Thieves to finally break the tie for second place. Let's turn our eyes to the jungle there, where Dardoch and Closer are facing off. We talked about jungle tier lists, so Mark, let's get into the way these two will actually match up.
Let's talk about it. Dardoch, I want to actually start with because we wanted to talk him, but we ran out of time in the countdown. He is a really interesting person to look at in the jungle right now. His XP differentials, his CSD, they're actually not that impressive when you look at it, but he is such a cornerstone for how their team functions. He has the highest team jungle proximity in the league because they play around him. It's not necessarily ganks, but it's jungle invades and things like that, as well as we talked at length about his champion pool over the course of this split. A lot of what Dignitas' game plans revolve around Dardoch and where he wants to be on the map. And that's why, you know, when they're sitting with a positive win rate and overperforming, he gets a lot of very justified credit for that success.
Now, flip side of that conversation is, of course, Closer, acknowledging that in our conversations earlier today, we've expected a little bit more from him when it comes particularly to the regular season, Primal.
Yeah, and look, I'm on the other side of this. I think relative to Mark, I don't think that the issues that 100 Thieves have had are tied to Closer, and I think additionally we need to note that 100 Thieves is still one of the better teams early game. In terms of stats right now, they are on average 800 gold ahead at 15, and they're going against a Dignitas that's on average 600 gold behind at the same point in the game. So I think the issue with 100 Thieves is relative to our expectations, right? We're looking at this to be a top 3 team in the league. They're not doing as well, and they're doing a lot of mid to late game execution errors that I think they need to iron out. But I still think they're favored in this matchup, and I think Closer is a big part of that with his good objective control.
Yeah, and to be fair, I didn't say that the early game issues were Closer's fault, merely that 100 Thieves has problems at PvP as a team right now. And I think that still holds true. Their objective control is why they win. Closer's great objective control in the early game is why, when these things go wrong, they're in an okay spot still, as well as their laners' natural ability to have pressure in these situations.
Wait, I'm pretty sure 100 Thieves has a bad early game, don't they? Like, even though they have that gold lead.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if I'm not mistaken, most of their early games, they fall behind and they start taking team fights and they start winning team fights because they don't necessarily destroy their 1v1 lane top, mid, or bottom or anything like that. It's just that when they start grouping together, and that's like post 15, 20, etc., they win those team fights because they play team fights really, really well. And if I'm not mistaken, that's what I've noticed from the games. I don't remember them dominating early game. Like, I don't know if that 800 gold differential at 15 is enough to be like, hey, they're destroying early game, you know? I think they group, and then they fight, and they outplay team fights. And I think that's their main strength at the moment.
I think I disagree. I mean, we might be looking at different sections of the split. Like, recently, it might be the case that maybe over the last 2 or 3 games, they've not been getting ahead at this point. But the stats say 800 gold ahead at 15, right? And if we look at them over the course of the split, yeah, there have been some botch dives. There have been some plays where it's like, okay, we don't think this team's completely on the same page, but they made their reputation as being a team that knows how to convert advantages early. Create advantages early, rather, from Demonte looking for roams and side plays. So that's what the stats say, and the stats don't lie, but maybe we're not reading the right set of stats here.
Well, and you know what? Fact of the matter is both of these teams are in second place. They're both 7-3. They've gotten there somehow. So both are good teams, whether or not they're strong in the early or strong in the late. They managed to close it out. I do want to move outside the jungle matchup, though, Hai, and come back to you on the bot lane, specifically from the Dignitas perspective, as we've seen a resurgence from Afromu and the stepping up of Neo.
Right. I wanted to talk about, in the beginning of Split, most people had the top 3 support and bot lanes as Team Liquid, Cloud9, and 100 Thieves, and I think it's arguable that we can start talking about the Dignitas bot lane between Afromo and Neo if they're able to be contending for either third or second. Probably not first, but are they in this conversation where they could be third or second? Because they actually have been performing really well. I think the lane phase honestly kind of sucks a little bit, if I'm not going to lie. But outside the lane phase, like once they start grouping and fighting, they've been performing really well, and they've are one of the cornerstones of why Dignitas wins. Like, them and Dardoch are the main reasons why Dignitas wins, and the fact that Dignitas is tied for second right now, it's a huge speaking point of how well they're doing.
And I totally agree about like the main reasons that they're winning, but I think one of the reasons that I underrated them personally was Neo. I did not think he was going to be this good as a rookie playing with the rookie Whisperer in Afro. We know that Dardoch and Afro were going to be the main 2 guys for this lineup, but I didn't think that they would be getting such great backup in Neo, and he has been incredible overall for his first year, and I'm really looking forward to see where he continues to go from here now that he's finally got a full-time starting position.
Yeah, very solid stats across the board there. We will forgive him for that one little oopsie yesterday in lane where it resulted in a kill. Small misposition. You get one. You got one. All right, regardless of how this next game plays out, it's undeniable that Dignitas have exceeded initial expectations. So let's take a closer look at one of their young performers in this Fake God feature.
Imposter syndrome is when you're in a spot somewhere, you don't feel like you earned that spot. Which I've definitely felt when I was had to play in LCS in 2019 summer. I'd say I just tried to compare my play to somebody's play a lot. Yeah, I'd say for the whole 2 years I was at 100 Thieves, that was what I was constantly trying to do. Just like seeing what made him better than me.
We'll see if 100 Thieves can break a 105-day loss streak as they come into today's game with another roster shuffle.
Yeah, people have been waiting to see what are they going to do to turn things around. If they put Fake God and Ryu subbing in to the team.
I was playing kind of bad in Academy, so it didn't feel that good, honestly. If I'm not even good enough for Academy, how am I going to play in LCS? And Sunday at the time was probably considered maybe even the top laner. So, I mean, that didn't really help my feelings of not belonging there at all. Because it was like, oh, like I'm taking the spot of one of the best top laners. I didn't feel the imposter syndrome as much until Sunday in Academy was just hard carrying games.
Someday! He saved the game!
At that point, I was probably constantly comparing myself, and comparing my performance in Academy and Sunday's performance, because it was just a very big difference at the time. I was just thinking like, I couldn't do that in Academy for some reason. I'm not sure why.
I think he was just young. He didn't know a lot, about how to play, team macro. Still was learning, knowledge on lane matchups. Obviously, the jump up from Academy to LCS is a lot larger gap when you're playing against these players who have played these matchups, hundreds of times more than he has. So it's just a lot of learning he had to do while, trying to perform in LCS. So I think he did not bad, but he wasn't really, I would say, prepared for that type of environment. I don't remember in particular if he's going through a tough time, but I'm sure he was, just thrown in first time LCS. Same with Saligo. So onto a team, that was already losing, trying to find success, and not the best way to enter the scene, but at least he did get experience,
When I was feeling that way, I had to just take a short mental break, and then I just kept going. That was all. And just kept trying to work to overcome that feeling. By the end of the LCS, I improved pretty rapidly towards the end, and I was able to hold my own. So I was definitely feeling like, oh, this is possible. Like I can definitely play in LCS. During the off season, really didn't know what to expect. Luckily, I did get a lot of offers, and one of them was for Dignitas as an LCS top laner.
I'm just happy, he was able to learn and get another shot at LCS again here on Dignitas.
Leading up to LCS, we weren't doing that well, and it was kind of rough for me. Kept trying to think about the concepts that we were learning every day, mostly from Dardock and Aphromu, because they had a lot of things to teach us, the rookies, I guess, me, Saligo, Neo.
We're actually learning at a very fast pace. Aaron in particular, guy always asking questions about, how should he move here? How should he play his character in this situation, for the team? And, I respect that. And it is a lot different from 100 Thieves when he was first coming in. When we're playing the game, there's no doubt that my guy's either going even or getting the lead top lane in every single matchup that he plays.
Fake God's running after Power of Evil. He needs a couple more auto attacks. Will he be able to find it? Yes, he will. He Goomba stops him. Sunday's just waiting on cooldown. He'll be tanking it up here next. Lots of flashes coming out, but a nice big body slam makes it a 1-for-1. Well played from Fake God.
He's going to be a top laner once this season's over.
I can understand a lot more about like how we're playing and League of Legends in general. I'm just thinking like, oh, the top teams right now, they're not actually that good. Like we can beat every single one of them. And I'm not actually a bad player. Like I can hold my own and win the game for my team.
Fake God looking to go big knot under the tower. Dignitas are going to find oh, that's a massive knot. Fires 3 into the wall.
If I find success on Dignitas, I think I'll feel like I really belong in LCS and not as an imposter.
Welcome back to the show. Dignitas going to be doing battle with 100 Thieves. And look, we've got Fake God among us. And I got to talk about the fact that you saw a glimpse of the 100 Thieves roster from a couple years ago where Fake God and Soligo, they were the pivot points. It's like, all right, this team is crashing and burning with Soligo in the mid lane. We're going to sub him out for Ryu in mid because we need a non-dumpster fire in the mid lane. That means, well, we're stuck on import, so someday you're out. Fake God, welcome to the LCS. Okay, dumpster fire in the top lane. That's okay. We're going to struggle it out and do the best we can. And now Soligo and Fake God are on the team together, and they're up in second place. It's been a miraculous return to form for the two of them. Fake God's up against Someday, which is outstanding. His second time doing that now this season for the rematch. And they're looking good here as this squad.
So, what did we learn here today? That freak dumpster fire plus dumpster fire equals second place, baby.
Well, the point is improvement, right? You heard Aframu talk about this, where it's like, yeah, he got thrown in, he wasn't really ready. I'm changing his words a little bit here, but the man asks a bunch of questions. He's learning. He's saying by the end of the year, Fake God will be a top player in the LCS. We've had plenty of NA upstarts do this. We had Licorice, make that run like for his entire tenure on Cloud9. They're like, yep. Licorice is by far obviously a top player in the LCS. Fake God can make that same run happen here on Dignitas, and it does take a few games to get there, absolutely. But Dignitas with their all-NA roster, it's a bunch of players you've seen before and been like, are they past their prime? Probably, but here they are 7-3 against 100 Thieves 7-3, and they're making it look good.
It is certainly part of the charm of this Dignitas team that it is so many comeback stories, across the board for this team. Definitely love it. Let's get jump right into the picks and bans here, though. Graves once again following up the Udyr ban for the jungle target for 100 Thieves. That one feels a little bit out of place for me because Dardoch obviously has played the most jungle champions of anyone in the LCS. I believe Graves is actually one of the ones that he still hadn't played and has started repeating now. There's your first pick. Senna, though. Freak going all googly eyes. I know. Seraphine.
Yep. And Rel going in right afterwards, I think makes sense. Of the unbanned champions, they're probably top 2. Olaf maybe, and that makes as well, so maybe they pick both of them, who knows. But that does seem to be the sort of, I'm going to say A tier because they're not perma-banned. Like, the sort of believed S tier is like, okay, you're banning Udyr actually every game. Like, just, no questions about Udyr's gone. Sometimes you leave Seraphine up, sometimes you leave Udyr up, and you should grab him when you can.
I think you should grab Rel for sure when you can for Dignitas and just put farming Seraphine now, because they actually didn't lock it in here. 400 Thieves is a little bit of a bait. I actually want to see the throwdown. I want to see who he's counter to the Rel is that is so popular, because these two supports, as we talked about in our they don't let it go all the way through. I thought without locking in first pick here, they might let it all the way through. They don't let it go towards the backside, but still, as we had our check-in at the beginning of the day highlighting these two supports, who he has done so much for 100 Thieves, likewise for Aframu. They are both in-game leaders for their team. They're both playmakers for the bottom lane for their team. Big reasons why these are two of the bottom lanes that have some of the best stats in the entire league. It is going to be the Hecarim pickup once again here for Dardoch, though. Love it whenever you compare Hecarim with speed up and shielding champions. Guess what? Seraphine is perfect for this, allows him to team fight deeper than previously. Also love pairing the Hecarim with other dive partners. Alistar is a great one here, so it will be the farming Seraphine. Other things that can dive in from your top lane, like Shen or something like that, are always great to further empower the Hecarim as well.
Yeah.
And especially because it looks like you're going to be dive versus dive here, since the Hecarim is facing a Rel and Olaf already. Both teams are going to be hunting backlines.
Yeah, going to be one to watch for sure. Dignitas might have damage concerns overall, since every Seraphine's always going to go Moonstone. She's usually going to go Staff of Flowing Water afterwards, so you're not even giving Hecarim a lot more damage off of that pickup. Obviously, again, she's very, very good, puts out some decent base values overall, but you know, unless Fake God's going to be on some kind of a cannon or something, you can sometimes be a little damage constrained. So that's one thing I'm going to be watched for, is what kind of champs they're going for the rest of this comp. Is it, you know, a Seraphine mid with like a Jinx there for Neo, or an Aphelios, something like that, or what that comp turns into. But, you know, glad they picked it, and we'll see how the rest of the comp comes around, as 100 Thieves need an AD carry and a mid laner. Well,
it's pretty hard to play damage from topside into a Renekton unless you're going something like Quinn.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to be, you know, a Gragas or something like that type of matchup for Fake God into the Renekton. Going against Someday, you know, who he has looked up to and played under for so many years. Slamming this Renekton pick here in last pick of the first iteration of picks here for 100 Thieves, I think was really strong. And then banning the Nara away as well. So let's see what Fake God can try and come up with to play into it. I doubt that he actually goes the route and tries to play Quinn into Someday. This guy, you can't mess up one time as the Quinn versus Someday on the Renekton, or else it will all come crashing down. So I'm expecting it to actually be a fairly light damage Dignitas team when it all does round out here. Meanwhile, 100 Thieves, very standard for them, as we see it. And locking in the Orianna here for Damonte, it's been one of the better control mages for him, I would say, from the mid lane. He's got plenty of targets to put the ball onto for shockwave delivery, and this 100 Thieves squad is rounding out pretty smoothly.
Okay, Gangplank, there's going to be some damage up, but otherwise Dignitas were incredibly light on consistent damage. Zoe does not, you know, do DPS very much, and Hecarim was going to be only one there, but the Gangplank is going to round that out pretty well, add some much needed extra physical damage to the roster, and Tristana comes to fill things out for 100 Thieves. I still probably take 100 Thieves in a full-on front-to-back team fight, but that GP gets it closer.
Yeah, the GP into Renekton is such an interesting one to me, especially since, like we said, you know, Fake God looked up to Someday for so long and played under him for so long. Is there a mental block here? Because at the beginning for Gangplank, level 1, your Trial by Fire, your Grass procs, you can try and force Renekton off the minion wave so he doesn't get access to early rage and doesn't, you know, start pushing you in early. But a Renekton Olaf is definitely at some point in the game going to look for, you know, pressure on this Gangplank, dives on this Gangplank. If, especially quicker, if Fake God does not utilize Gangplank's level 1 early possibilities of playing around it. So I wonder about the level 1s, if we do have, you know, invades or split maps actually to make it a better situation from the side of 100 Thieves. They do have Olaf, great at invading, undertow threat, gets you a lot of priority when invading for those deeper wards.
Okay, so a lot of eyes on what level 1s look like and exactly where Dardoch is allowed to go. If he's, you know, cut off from topside, and GP has to play safe on a turret, yeah, it gives a lot of room for Someday to make something happen. So that's where my eyes are going to be for sure. Thank you for the call out there, Kobe. And we are now on a Summoner's Rift here for a battle between second place teams here. Dignitas on one side, 100 Thieves on the other. A return to form for both orgs. 100 Thieves made it to finals way back when Aftermoo himself was on that roster. And now here doing well on Dignitas here with a bunch of more or less upstarts here. Redemption story for Dardoch here as well, of course, as he's been having maybe his best season overall in his competitive career. But 100 Thieves, they were one of the favorites heading into the season, tied for second, about where many expect them to be coming into their 11th game of the split.
And now many teams have tried to invade Dignitas level 1, and every time Dignitas have had their entire team committing to defending the level 1s and came out with first bloods in 2 of those invades, with 5 members defending. This time around, Dignitas once again have stacked towards the defense for the level 1, and we get it again. So 100 Thieves have seen the previous 2 failed attempts of teams trying to level 1 invade Dardoch. They take a quick pass in there, just look at the Raptors, and turn right around. The payment has been in the past that Fake God has had to teleport to the top side and give up his summoner spell. But because of the non-commitment here, he can just walk out this time. That does mean that there is 0 chance of Gangplank trying to use his level 1 Trial by Fire, Grass Procs, Q spam to keep Renekton off the minion wave, and someday gets right in there. He gets control of the minion wave. He's going to get Rage stacking up as well, and should have the experience lead. Let's see if Dardoch actually goes for some sort of early gank. Because he did Raptor straight to top side rather than doing Raptor red here, possibly because there was a ward that they saw placed down, so he knows that they saw him Raptor start.
Yeah, I think he's trying to find ways to dodge away from the vision and whatnot, to just pull it into the brush and then leave. He's going to smite the Gromp over and go for the double camp down there. But yeah, it means he's topside and he's ready to make any big plays. The one thing about this kind of clear is he will be level 3 off of the fact that Gromp or Krugs was in the clear, so that means he can go for like a devastating charge play. He's also not used any of his potions yet. He's just getting like very, very low. It's not like he's Olaf. He doesn't need to conserve that stuff. But now going to go back down to the rest of the full clear. I believe this will let him dodge the Trinket Ward on the way back down towards red buff.
Yeah, and the main point here is that since Fake God had to give up his level 1 on the minion wave and Renekton's going to be pushing, Dardoch doesn't want to get invaded. It's an Olaf Renekton topside. Yeah. So he's like, okay, I immediately have to take away blue side just because I don't want Closer to be able to use pushing someday top side to be able to counter jungle me. Afromu gets the timing. So many times we've seen this Alistar into the Rel, and even in the hands of Afromu, he pulls off the timing here, does get the Q interrupt this time around, so that definitely bodes well for the matchup.
Nice sidestep to Monte, but may still get Paddlestar down, indeed down about 300 HP thanks to the mid lane trade. So they go doing a pretty good job over there. We'll see how much farm gets picked up on the other side. Fake God doing his best to hold the waves up against Someday, trades a bit of damage back and forth, and ultimately he's going to be bleeding some farm. It's going to be like 12, 13 CS to 20. That is obviously quite Someday favored, as that one minion is just out of turret range. Don't miss.
Yeah,
good job.
I mean, again, the level 1s for Dig, they were rewarded so many times for defending level 1 on Dardoch's jungle, getting first blood often, and Fake God committing down there. But in this matchup here for Gangplank, definitely does hurt that Someday gets to push with impunity, and Dardoch basically concedes that top side immediately, going for the quick blue quadrant jungle. Closer did use some time going for the invade there. Olaf and Renekton did check and place the deep ward for themselves, but it means for Fake God that he's got to worry as his lane pushes back out into dangerous territory, because they have not gotten any extra intelligence on Closer's position. No deep wards for themselves. Closer hasn't showed anywhere.
He in a nice spot there, waiting for the lane to come back in. Wants to make sure he's doing the right amount of safety. He's like, okay, about now is when they'd both be back together. Don't overextend. Rel has no natural escapes. You crash down out, and your move speed is like 200, and they just chase you down. So
waddle in there with some heavy metal pants.
You kind of just lose. So, okay, who he playing it the right amount of defensively. Says, okay, I'm back, whatever, no big deal. And they're back to the 2-on-2. Early tier pickup for Neo. Sure, it makes sense down there, plus the boots. Double Doran's Blade for FBI. Going to make him a little bit more all-in immune, but it is going to delay his Mythic ever so slightly. Nothing to really write home about so far. Someday and Fake God are reasonably close in farm. Still, again, a little bit Someday favored, but Fake God trying to get a decent first recall. Closer figuring out where to want this Scryer's Bloom to go. Decides not to burn it to give his location away. Just going to try to go for an early dragon instead.
Yeah, and that Scuttle Crab disappearing now for Dignitas doesn't really matter at all. They saw him with their ward behind red buff, so here come the reinforcements.
Okay, nice rocking up away for FBI. Ruhui right back in the front of the fight, but he's drowsy. Gonna take a big chunk of damage, and first blood comes through to Dardoch, ghosting in. FBI has to flash because Rock Jump was still down, so Ligo cannot find the next target, but Sleep's coming up pretty soon. They may have the chase down. It's still the runaway for Orianna. That's gonna be a Sleep landing, but there will not be a chase in.
I knew this support matchup was going to be hype. Afromove flashes in, gets the stun on the FBI, getting his rocket jump out, and then immediately headbutts Huhi right out of the crash down, setting him up for the rest of his team. Soligo does land the sleep. Doesn't matter that his Q misses there because Dardoch has plenty of damage. They wake him up and take the first blood money once again. Dignitas grabbing first blood.
Absolutely outstanding stuff right there. So, 300 gold lead right now to the Dignitas squad. Well done. As Fake God very calmly lasts its minions under the turret. The first recall comes through for Someday, and Dragon is not on the board. But Closer, once again, back to the scene of the crime. This has been one of his best strengths. He is constantly on these Dragons. 100 Thieves so frequently has bot lane pressure that he can just go in for this one, and they're going to be fine to make that one happen. Dardoch going to grab the rest of the Raptors first, but they may not be able to fight for this one. Afro in a really bad spot, gets Shockwave. Aftershock buys him a bit of time, but he's still running very low on health. She's not even Aftershock. He just managed to survive that long with Phase Rush somehow, and Dardoch finds a kill again onto Huhi, exact same as before. I don't know how Afro lived. Somehow he got away through a Shockwave on Alistair, but ultimately gets away with it.
He also just took that cleaver right in the face, trailing behind the rest of his team, and that doesn't kill him either. You can't take down the Moo. Afro survives again. Dignitas with an early game lead now. That is huge. They retaliate with Scuttle Crab there for Dardoch. He's now level 6 on the Hecarim after that play. What a look. Huhi got such a good combination here, and they even used the Shockwave, but Damonte's out of mana, can't get off another auto. Dardoch, once again, ease back Huhi, and there's your slow walking Rel with the metal pants. Can't get her way out of the GP ultimate slow from Fake God from the top side. He's even contributing, grabs himself an assist for it, and Dig starting out their match here, tied in a 3-way tie for second place with 100 Thieves and TSM. They are looking to push above the rest of the league and be the lone team in that second place spot.
Well, Fake God may have to change his name at a certain point. You know, Imposter Syndrome, calling yourself fake probably filters into that one a little bit. You know, maybe consider just Real God. You know, at a certain point, end of the season, you know, find yourself an LCS title, switch it around at some point. You know, I'm not saying right now, but eventually, if you find yourself in that kind of spot, you know, that's where you put yourself for.
All right, I got you. The one true God of top lane.
There you go.
Gangplank here for Fake God. Did have to give up a lot. Did give his ultimate there, so, you know, I'm helping guys.
Yeah, really highly skilled play.
Yeah, he's doing his job, though. He's trying to thin these waves. 100 Thieves have not been able to put extra pressure diving there. Someday is earning his money, though. I mean, Renekton, he's pushing up. He's grinding those turret plates off. So Renekton definitely is going to be quite strong here for the mid game, and we've seen what Renekton and Someday specifically can do for 100 Thieves. Despite Dignitas with the early 2 kills for themselves, they still are competitive in gold because, in large part, due to the CS lead here for Someday on the top side of the map as well.
All right, still playing defensively up there. He knows he's not the one with the attention. They would still want to gank bot side. There's FBI and Huhi are still flashless. Thank you, Observant, for showing us the... Yep, he's just like, in case you're watching me. Look, Hecarim is really easy to play, so I'm going to emote in between.
No, there's actually a story here, Freak. The last time that he had played 100 Thieves, he died to Krugs. So every time Dardoch goes and kills Krugs now versus 100 Thieves, he's flashing his emotes. You're not going to get me this time, Krugs.
I forgot about that one.
Do yourself a treat and go back and watch that first 100 Thieves Dig game, by the way, because that's the Rengar game for Dardoch. He gets to do absolutely nothing with the Rengar all game long because 100 Thieves are so tanky. It did have a Krug death, so he gets the last laugh here.
Yeah, and then afterwards, go watch Dignitas versus Renegades from like 2015 and watch the Rift Herald and the Tower dive. You know, we got bangers all around in the LCS. This time around, though, Dignitas not only have they won because of Baron plays earlier this season, they are honestly taking names right now again. 700 gold lead. Dardoch is the gold leader. Hecarim can certainly make use of it, at least through the mid game. I think super late Hecarim falls off a little bit, but there's plenty of runways here for this one. Bot lane under a lot of pressure, though, as closers come down to the side. It's going to be a couple of turret plates taken as the payment for the fact that Herald's being soloed by Dardoch.
Yeah, he's going to pick up Shelly, and maybe they actually are able to use it around mid lane. If you're able to get mid turret down, you know, at a reasonable pace here when you're running Zoe, that is it means a world of a difference. And Soligo has been one of the best Zoes in the LCS. You know, despite him getting so much flame, you know, so often from a lot of the community, Zoe has been a great pick for him, and he has been able to land consistent sleeps and poke for Dig, and even when he was on 100 Thieves to a degree. So I want to see this time around if he's able to get some lane power, you know, extra pressure pushing his minion waves out to go roam around. Maybe the Rift Herald is dropped there. He's already been able to work off one plate himself. So maybe that's a way for Dig to gain some map control back, because the side lanes are dropping very quickly. Someday gets another turret plate himself, and the Tristana bottom side has already earned 2.
5 plates so far. Nice recall stop there for Fake God, but yeah, 800 gold worth of turret plates off of laning prowess compared to the 160 off Soligo pushing mid. That is making up for the majority of the kill gold in this game. It's why the score is close when you look at the top of that scoreboard. Obviously the one Dragon for 100 Thieves because of the bottom lane pressure that's also been there. And look, 3 minutes till the next Dragon's coming across. It's going to be a pretty late soul, if any, but that is just the consideration to think about here. Afro going to help spot the ward plays, 3 down to the bottom side, so Soligo knows to play it a bit more defensively. Mid laner is going to be pretty much equal farm as a result of all this one. And we'll wait for the next big play. Teleport is up for someday, not for Fake God, but that Gangplank has his ulti available, so he can at least participate somewhat if there's a fight somewhere else on the map. Essence Reaver done. That feels good. Stride Breaker ordered done for someday. He can help get in on reaching a backliner and maybe try to lock down Neo or someone. Otherwise, everyone else still just farming up.
All right, plenty of deep vision here. 400 Thieves set up around this red quadrant as well. So 2.5 minutes left on that Dragon. Should be very easy for them to retain that vision control and set up. It has been turned around multiple times on them already. All of these bottom lane plays with Afromu here at the hands of Huhi going down on Rel both times. Now that he's got access to his level 6 ultimate, though, a little bit more punch behind this engage. Kind of risky position there from Damonte, but he's baiting.
Yep, Soligo kind of baiting as well, though, but now they realize it's a 2v3. Shockwave going to get stop-watched, but the re-engage could be scary. He misses the combo! He went too early, and Dardoch dives in for Damonte. Going to have a hard time finding the target, though. Soligo trying to get away from Olaf, who cannot be slowed, who cannot be stopped, who will knock down Soligo. But Fake God's on the chase, going to kill him as well. That's a pretty solid trade one on the board there for the Gangplank. Damonte with 5 HP stays alive. Dardoch wants back in. Headbutt to the flash, pulverized, set up for Afromu. The perfect play out of the Dignitas support. Dardoch knocks down another kill.
That was certainly greedy from Damonte. I was going to commend him for getting out of a crazy situation. Afromu, though, he's toast.
The re-engage comes across. Pulverized out of 2 by some time. His ulti was still up, though, so he's so tanky. And the charm comes across. He is not toast. He is the toaster. And the bread will fall. FBI's running away for his life. Someday finds one, but it's traded back as Dardoch kills one as well. Huhi finally on the horse, running as fast as he can. Trying to get away. Someday also running, but the gallop coming through for Dardoch. Herald will charge mid and knock down plates in time, so Dardoch a little bit richer. Good summon by him. As out they go. The fight was close, but it ends up with Dignitas up 1,000 gold.
They finally took down Captain Afromu, but at what cost, Freak? It was everything. It's now a 4-kill Hecarim for Dardoch. Look at how long this play went on. Starts out in the mid lane with the bait from Damonte. He then gets dangerously low to getting soloed by Dardoch on the outside, but Dardoch can't get off the last auto or Q as Damonte expertly flashes into the fog of war. Even though there's a counter kill here up on the top side, Damonte got out alive. And flashing into the fog of war would even break the auto if it had started to go off, but then he goes back into lane, gets punished. Afromu here on the run with no flash, popped his ult, and there goes the horn as the rest of the team arrives. Double teleports in here to avenge him even after his death. And it's Dignitas just keeping the play going, never giving up on it, and still being able to get that gold back.
Alrighty, and just back over the wall. I like that play a lot, the Hex Flash and a Blast Cone. It's pretty cute. I like it a ton. Good job Huhi getting away and you know, removing one of the avenues Afro could take for a flank, and same for Dardoch, who can't natively get over walls. Regardless, though, still, 1,000 gold game right here. Farm pretty close in most roles. That said, outside of the jungle, 100 Thieves are winning in all 3 of those lanes. So that is something to keep in mind. That their overall laning prowess is being answered by Dignitas doing better in the fights. We've got the Divine Sundera done for the 4-0 Hecarim there for Dardoch. FBI, yeah, Afro kind of knows, like, yeah, you're going to have to rocket jump. I'm not going to bother with the headbutt pulverize. We might get turned around on, and the chance of a kill is, you know, 1%.
Yep, definitely not a good risk to benefit ratio there on that one. Dragon is up though, and everybody committing resources up towards the top side of the map. I wonder if they even get vision of some of these recalls here as 100 Thieves decide to reset. Dardoch has positioning. Remember, he's got a fairly large bounty on himself, so going for a deep tower dive.
Charge into the wall, cannot quite find the sleep though. Shockwave is out of turret range, so Dardoch is fine. The sleep finally lands the other half though. He walked back into it, but it's a bait because Closer was there. You mentioned the shutdown, it goes right over to Olaf.
Yeah, those types of risky plays, when you have a big shutdown like that and there is a dragon up, you are the jungler, your smite is so valuable. I think that's just what 100 Thieves would like. Someday here trading onto Fake God actually takes a big amount of return damage, but because they took down Dardoch in the trade kill, 100 Thieves even setting up on the objective.
Yeah, not just a smite, but also most of their gold. A drowsy Olaf is a target for the dragon, and now a headbutt pulverize is going to find Huhi, who's going to run back away, stay alive. 1500, no smite, easy pick up for Closer, going to grab it. There you go, claims it. Could be asleep, still has the, no, does not have ulti. So Fake God can find a combo. Barrel Chain's going to come across. Here comes the re-engage for Huhi. Charm only goes on a 1, but they can certainly knock him down. The sleep, no, he misses the E, but it's going to be enough. Neo finds 1. Headbutt pull on a 2. That's gigantic. A flash of the wall for Closer, knocks down Fake God. FBI safe as well. And Dignitas, they really only get 1 kill. It felt like the setup could have been so good, but everyone else is going to get away. Dragon claimed by 100 Thieves. Overall, a victory for the red team.
What an escape plan there for 100 Thieves. Someday still hasn't finished though. Hey, they caught sight of him with that ward. Can he get out into the waiting arms?
Pulverize, get the damage. They get the damage in time to get Neo the kill. Afro manages to slow it down enough that at least 1 more goes back, but 2 dragons to 0 makes me start to favor 100 Thieves here.
Look at this coordination, Freak. Huhi goes in to engage with FBI on the 3-person squad for Dig, so that Fake God, pincering Closer inside the pit, actually requires him to flash out, and even though Aframu gets the double knock up there, Closer flashes over, Someday dashes over the wall, and it just turns into a 1-for-1 trade. As I thought Someday might go deeper and try and recall on one of those deep rush, but he tried to walk his way out here, and Aframu and Neo do end up catching him, getting the extra kill in the end for themselves to quite the hilarious dragon party that we just had.
Alrighty, so Staff going through for Neo for the big chunk of AP you're going to expect there out of that build. You know, very standard stuff there for Seraphine, of course. Either way, looking at second Herald now for Dignitas is a still 1,000 gold difference remains, but Closer going to find Fake God. And you can't really orange away from these slows. He's not going to go anywhere easily. That's going to be a lot of damage coming down. There's some big axes, and Closer on a killing spree, 4-1.
Closer has been so good at hunting down and punishing flashes previously blown here for 100 Thieves. This time around, after Fake God had to use it to get out of the Dragon Pit and he follows, immediate follow-up here for him, returning to the Renekton lane, returning to Someday to get the extra gold here. Yes, it is going to be top tower traded and Rift Trail traded for the bottom push as well, but 100 Thieves happy to push very heavily on bottom side since they're the ones with the double dragons picked up for themselves, getting the extra gold off the kill onto Fake God here, and leaving so many wards behind in this red quadrant of Dignitas jungle.
Now the wards we're looking for then. In Dignitas' jungle, in the bottom side, it's going to be hard to walk back in. Realistically, Cloud Soul is on the play before too long. We're 2 minutes away from the next Drake spawn. We've got people waiting around to see if they can dive Fake God since they still control the bottom side. His trinket gets used and then taken back down. Dignitas trying the same up top, and Demonte plays it safely enough that he's fine. GP ult used to wave clear, but Someday still putting down a lot of damage on this turret, and honestly, he's sieging so fast, he's going to be alive. Honestly, whatever, he'll recall and walk back down. It's not going to be a problem. The top lane turret's not taking nearly the same kind of damage that this one just suffered.
And I do actually like kind of the option Fake God went for this time around with the Essence Reaver rush for Gangplank. Definitely going to give him a lot of utility, but he still has been able to get off some good procs as well, and keeps his mana very, very good for control of the minion wave. I don't know about a minute and a half though for the setup. We were talking about retake of this vision through your red quadrant. wait much longer, and that becomes so dangerous for Dignitas. They do have Afromu who can try and face check on the Alistar, and he's got Flash ready, so even if he face checks and finds 100 Thieves, you can turn it into an engage opportunity, you know, flashing in for, you know, combo for Alistar, but it's not the scenario that you want to be in as a turnaround from a Rel Olaf engage from Fog of War can put a big hamper onto this Dig team fighting. And then probably the only thing that really saves you out of that is an extreme Seraphine ultimate that locks up the entire team. So 100 Thieves, that's probably the main thing they're looking for as far as spacing out and keeping this vision over the river.
Looks like Soligo can't get to his second major item in time for this Dragon as we're 28 seconds away, and he can't quite finish Rise and Focus. Meanwhile, a kind of similar boat for Demonte with the Verdant Barrier and Tier. He's nowhere near that point either. Staff of Flowing Water, though, done for Neo. So the one guy on, you know, him and Someday really on 2 completed gigantic items. Dardoch kind of in that same boat. 10 seconds to go till that Dragon spawns. Fake God should be able to keep his turret alive. Get some decent damage there at a Someday as well as he builds towards slow the shield bow.
And that's why I like the Essence Reaver rush. Because, like, yeah, you don't rush your Mythic, but you're just blowing up the waves. Here we go.
Okay, CC on a 2. Huhi, though, still going to be waddling slowly, and there goes Dardoch, putting him right back in. Ungulate, an Ungulate crime, and a kill comes across. Dignitas again on the board. 9-5 the kills, and Dignitas will indeed grab that Dragon.
Shout out to Foxtrot for the vocabulary addition there. I love it. Dardoch again is able to charge Huhi back into the team. Another death. They're just punishing this Rel so heavily. Low move speed there as she goes back into human form, and Dardoch got the perfect little angle there just on the other side. Charges him back. Gets the extra Dragon for themselves. They cut off 100 Thieves Dragon stacking and immediately look to pick up multiple objectives. Rift Herald popped, and that tower is gone.
Solo turret gold to Soligo as Heralds only share plates. They do not share turrets with their summoner. And so that is 300 gold in the pockets of Zoe, who's going to try to power spike soon. And well, now we're at the part of the time where Baron becomes the possible setup there. That's going to, you know, start being where we go. Shelly gets the second charge off, so bot lane tier 2 incredibly low. If Fake God ever gets alone time, that turret is gone to, like, Trial by Fire, Rasheen auto, and then 2 seconds of attacking afterwards. Like, it's pretty quick. But 100 Thieves, they get to the river first. Like, 100 Thieves are, I think, pretty clearly constantly winning the vision game, but it doesn't matter. Dignitas are fighting better.
They certainly are. And a lot of it is Dardoch's Hecarim play so far for them, and him getting a lot of these kills early on, funding this Hecarim so that he can actually stay in the middle with, you know, the Sterix gauge on top of extra armor now being built for himself. He's going to go even more tanky. Steel caps as well here. So that plus the shields and heals that will come from the Seraphine. Definitely looking like Dignitas have a very, very stable fight towards the mid game.
They've got a stable fight, but FBI is going for optimal single target DPS the build. It is Phantom Dancer second on Tristana with Kraken Slayer. So FBI can absolutely take it to frontline champions. It's going to be a lot of damage here on the Trist. Something to really, really watch for. Halo Blades makes it kind of front-loaded. Means he can also kind of assassinate sometimes if he finds Soligo or Neo by themselves. Definitely, my eyes are still on this Trist because FBI can be the 1v9 champion with the build like this. Newly buffed Phantom Dancer is really, really outstanding, especially on Kraken Slayer builds. So eyes are on that Trist to be the big factor. Otherwise, yes, totally agree. Dardoch has been gigantic. He's been the primary reason for Dignitas doing well. And we'll see how much he can threaten the backline because he's going to be going for this Randuin's Omen, which is similarly going to cut that damage back down. The Pulverize is going to find it, going to keep FBI from rocket jumping away. He didn't even try. He's going to jump in instead. Big damage. I mean, you can see the amount of punishment there. Imagine if the charge was on the Squishy, that probably would have been a kill. All the same, ultis come across, and it's Dignitas forced to disengage, blowing several summoners.
Yeah, clicked on the big old Alistar right there, so explosive charge on that target instead. But the punishment already unleashed, and during that time, they were also chasing Soligo back through the Dignitas territory here. So 100 Thieves pushing up on their side lanes. They haven't been able to get too much out of Someday's lead over Fake God, because we keep on panning over Fake God, clearing minion waves, standing back with his Essence Reaver, double barrel chains, just focusing on the minions and adding his ultimate to the team plays. Now that he has his shield bow, he'll be a little bit more durable for these team fights. He still has to play it fairly cautiously, though, and looking for these preset up barrel chains. Someday, though, just grinding away in that side lane, just continuing to slowly increase his lead, whittling away at towers, feeding up on this extra CS, and increasing that lead.
Yeah, 68 CS difference here between the top laners. Someday also up a level. This turret nearly gone, and no one's around to help him. Fake God knows it. Playing far back. Lands a barrel chain, kills maybe a melee minion, but that is the turret down. 100 Thieves tie the score up 3-3. We know bot lane tier 2 is very low on their side as well. So again, if it ever goes the other way around, Fake God can find something, but just trying to be safe, waiting around. Shield bow is on, but that shield, of course, can be popped by Renekton, so that is also a consideration to keep in mind. As now 3 full items are in for Someday. He's basically an entire legendary ahead of Fake God. So if that Renekton's in fights, that's going to be the look, but he's only been part of 3 of their 5 kills so far.
I want to see, I'm just waiting for the Magnet Storm plus Shockwave combo from Huhi and Damonte. They still haven't been able to get a big one. There's a single target Shockwave that does chunk Dardoch, also procs his Sterix Gauge shield. But with 26 seconds left on the Dragon, maybe Dardoch even runs all the way back to base and gets back out here.
Does he finish Randuin's? Not quite. Doesn't have quite enough money, but gets a couple control wards. He's going to just gallop back to the map. But this is a fight that Dignitas clearly want to take, but 100 Thieves, not only are they there first, but they're there with the better wards. It'll be once again Dignitas trying to muscle their way through Fog of War to get it back. Maybe they can do it. Afro might just try now, going for the flash, pulverize into the headbutt, and they're gonna find the damage. Afro Moo can do no wrong. Beautiful setup again, finds 2 more kills. Give this man an MVP already. Dignitas get the team fight in mid. It's time to run to the Baron.
It's 2021, Freak, and people are voting Afro Moo onto the All-Star team. Talk about longevity. What an initiation there for him. He needs to get back over to the Baron, though. The rest of the team has started it up, and he's coming from mid. Might get sectioned off by these solo laners.
Closer has ult, he has flash, he has smite. Afro has to kite away. He's trying to run away as Damonte's still on the chase. Shockwave is up. I mean, this is still going to be a bit of a scary 3v5. Neo can heal them, of course. He can shield them. That's the nice benefit. But yes, as we mentioned, Closer has everything. He can definitely make it in, so they try for the re-engage. They find Drowsy, but not on the right target. Throws another axe, gets them more vision. There's a control over the wall. Damonte getting chased down. Shockwave finds 2. Afro getting a bit low, and the respawns are coming in. Fake Guy gets a shield popped up. Over the wall goes Hecarim, and it's already 3 kills. 100 Thieves turn it around. Dignitas could not get their whole team. They left Soligo back to keep it aggroed, and 3 kills are picked up on the re-engage.
Ooh, man, they're going to be able to pick up this Baron as well for themselves. Dardoch run off all the way to the bottom half of the map, and 100 Thieves with a huge comeback. Dignitas trying to turn off this Baron, but an incomplete turn goes completely awry. And now the table's been flipped. 100 Thieves are back on top here. Baron buff in tow. This makes it so much easier. Tristana now level 15. Huge range scaling up, and they will be able to melt through these towers. All right, here's another look at the attempted turn from Dignitas. They have a lot of turn possibilities, but Afromoo's ult being blown as he walked over from mid lane definitely hurts their team fight front line. You see Fake God does chase off a little bit of the 100 Thieves damage dealers, but even flashing in, Damonte gets the Shockwave, sets them up, and then there it is. Huhi comes over the top with the Magnet Storm, right on top of Someday. So the Renekton is able to dish out the damage. They pick up the extra kills, Baron afterwards, and they'll pick up all this extra standing gold in the outer towers.
And definitely feel like a split call for Dignitas. Dardoch and Soligo were staying in the pit. They got up to about 2,500, and Dardoch was like, screw it. We're going in. We're going for the fight instead. Sorry, Soligo, you can't join. We hope it's enough. And it was not. Damonte, a great Shockwave. Huhi, great follow-up. Someday even flash the fear. Damonte now the target of several ultimates. Cloud Drake goes over. They delete the mid laner, but how about the re-engage though? 5-on-4. Most ultis have been burned now. Dignitas can try to find their way back in. He jumps away. They find the knockup, but the ulti is late from Closer. He was already airborne. He's not gonna live through this one. The shield is popping. It will not matter. He cannot chase long enough. The shutdown comes through. But again, Dragon was claimed. It's one away from Soul for 100 Thieves, and Dignitas need to fight back through the 5v3 now.
A lot of split calls here, actually, as Closer just hard commits to that Dragon. They do burn through it. At the cost of Damonte's life, they're not done, though.
Big damage possible. FBI still gets charmed up. They're going to find him, and they delete that poor Tristana. Just like the other Megalings, she is gone, and now it is the TP away. But he's on a ward. The Flash E means the root. Neo finds the setup. Someday may have the tools, though. He's going to try. The shield comes in. All right, they shut the down. They get the 600 gold for the pickup. It's 4 kills in a row, but because of that, there were no objectives claimed. It was just the 1,800 off the kills, and now a bit of a reset.
But it was during the Baron. So all these kills are picked up by Dig during the Baron. They completely negate all of the Baron power play for 100 Thieves as they decide to trade Damonte's life rushing for that Dragon. They get another kill here under the jungler. And then in the reset, I want to highlight Neo. Neo has been such a good Seraphine so far for this squad. He's been able to set up so many kills, even while not being on the main damage dealer for the team. He is a big reason for them. Dignitas here, Dardoch kites right back to him. He lands the double charm through Someday, through Dardoch, hits the Tristana, makes it a very easy kill there for Soligo and Dardoch to pick off in the backside, and then flashes for the snare as well. Just really, really good stuff for him, playing for the team and allowing the rest of the damage dealers to pick up all these kills.
All right, quick stride breaker for Soligo. Help him kill a blue buff, maybe. I just want to see Zoe dash into melee range for no other reason than to see a Zoe die from misplaying. But nope, not going to happen. He's going to be fine. 3,000 gold once again. Dignitas actually have grown their lead. I'm pretty sure 100 Thieves had a negative power play there. I'm going to guess. I didn't see the numbers. I wasn't looking, but Someday is basically all the gold. And we're at 30-minute Renekton territory. You no longer really want your gold leader to be Renekton anymore. You really, really want it to be Tristana or Ori. And that's just not the case anymore. So the gold, not in the best spots. You saw, like the last 5 minutes were Dignitas positive, except for the fact that 100 Thieves are on Soul Point.
Yeah, a lot of 100 Thieves over the past week has been a lot of the topsy-turvy moments where your heart is pumping, it's exciting, but there have been some big risks that have not gone their way recently, and it draws my mind back to earlier in the split, 100 Thieves winning every game, on top of the leaderboards here, new age of the LCS, and their coach is tweeting out, I feel like we could beat anybody right now, but we could also lose to anybody with some of the things that have gone on with their style for this squad being, so aggressive and so exciting. So we have seen in the last few days some of those looks, and Dignitas here now in this pivotal week where it's a three-way tie for second coming into it. If they're able to finish out this game with this lead and establish themselves as the #2 team, then they will silence a lot of the doubters. Yep.
It's looking good so far. Their 11th game of the season, and they're poised to take down their chief competition for second place and stay within 1 game of Sweethearts Cloud9. So far, so good. Dardoch and Aframu really, really leading the charge. Everyone else, honestly, putting up good performances as well. Do not want to sell them short, but the playmaking has been Aframu and Dardoch. They have been the ones to make the tough decisions. Is this the fight worth going for? All right, I'm putting my body on the line, and I'm making the call that we're going for it. They had one rough fight around Baron and immediately rectified that mistake, setting up for what could be the climactic Dragon fight. Dragon Soul on the line. 100 Thieves would get Cloud Soul, a ton of move speed, even more ulti CDR, which honestly is pretty useful on a lot of these champions. And here we go, 30 seconds.
Hugely so, I would say, because as much as we are talking up Dignitas right now with the position that they're in, 100 Thieves on the precipice of getting a Dragon Soul, plus they have a big wombo combo available that they have not been able to execute cleanly yet. So many of their fights have been with somebody getting picked off or who he's engaged getting interrupted on the rel.
Couple of stunts was Afro holding his ulti for now, has the auto attack stun, not going to find it. Ward's not going to go down, Trinket comes in, but taken again. 100 Thieves continue to have ward control, but the team fights have just continually not gone their way. Big damage on Orianna. Dardoch is going to dive in, but stopwatch was burned. He's got to get right back out. Not going to find the poke yet onto Demonte. FBI forced to jump away. No charm coming through for Neo Seraphine. A reset onto the Dragon, going back into the pit. 100 Thieves split apart, but Dignitas have to be afraid of the fact that now they're, of course, flanked as well. Dardoch ultiless. The only ult they really have is Afro moves. 100 Thieves have 4, actually all 5 to use. So Dignitas give up on Soul. They say, we can't get this. We'll push mid instead, and we'll knock down an inhibitor turret. Dragon Soul goes over to 100 Thieves. Well played to 100 Thieves, but the wave is almost dead. It will still be enough to knock down the turret. But what about the re-engage? Without Shockwave, maybe it feels a bit safer, and they're going for the play. TP to re-engage. This 100 Thieves want to take this fight. And with Cloud Soul, it's certainly doable. Someday wants to find the backline. He's going to go in for it, finds Seraphine, big damage. Dardoch finds one, trader right back away. And now the 4v4 continues. The move speed there. 400 Thieves. They chase into Fake God. Burns the stopwatch. Someday, gigantic on the front line. Finds the kill on a Soligo. Gets Afro Moo as well. FBI going to clean up one for himself. Dardoch in melee range. Realize, let's flash away from this one. But they will clean it up. 100 Thieves are going to find the last kill, or will they? The chase in on a Dardoch. He's running as fast as he can. He's going to try to dodge the exit, but he cannot. The Bud Light Ace for 100 Thieves. Onto the Baron they go.
100 Thieves finesse the Cloud Soul for themselves, and they get the trap here. Someday teleports right back in with the extra move speed. Even though Huhi is the sacrificial rel right here, goes down immediately, they're able to take down all DPS here from Dig right from the start. Someday flashes in, finishes off that one, and FBI, I love it. Rocket jumps in for the slow, setting up his team, then flashes right back out there. You guys take care of the rest. They do finish off Dardoch, with Closer being able to flash over for the follow here. Picking up Baron in the aftermath, and with the Cloud Soul and the Baron at their backs, this one back and forth freak here. This battle for second place finally turning. And again, that Cloud Soul for the likes of Renekton, Rel, and Olaf means a world of the difference. It actually changes what you can accomplish in these team fights with that extra move speed, as well as the importance of these ults for 100 Thieves.
Well, it's worth telling the other side of the story. Fake God was talking about how he'd look at Someday and say, man, he's doing things that I just can't. You look at that fight, Someday, 7,500 damage in that battle. There's a 4-item Tristana on his team. There's a 4-item Orianna. Nah, Someday is the one doing it on the Renekton. Most gold on the team, most XP in the game, level 18. He is the one doing so much of the work in the cleanup. He was the big TP flank to help set up that fight. Someday is the man of the match for now 100 Thieves, the winning team. That was the one piece of the roster that came in, and it's done a lot. Bit of damage on a closer. 100 Thieves feeling comfortable now with Baron on, with Cloud Soul on, sieging 2 lanes at once. Someday pushes in mid, top under fire. Wave clear, obviously not bad from Dignitas roster. Seraphine pretty good at it. Has one more slot to go. Stopwatch inventory eventually. I think that'll be a death cap down the line.
And it's crit Gangplank as well. Fake God doing his part here.
Yeah.
He is level 18, even though he's been gapped by Someday for most of the game. Still with some item slots to fill in. Does have the crits here for Barrel Chain. So if he can get a good one onto the back line and a Seraphine ulti, 100 Thieves cannot get too lazy with their push. Huge advantage for them. Yet they have to be wary of the long range. Seraphine and Gangplank Barrel Chains, very long range, can catch you off guard here. So as long as they watch out for that, 100 Thieves still able to keep Dignitas pinned inside their base and bleeding more.
Bubble not quite going to find the ideal target. Even if it landed, Closer could have always burned his ult and ran away. Stopwatch if it really, really gets bad. Zonia is completed for Demonte, so doesn't have to worry about the consumables, can just remain invulnerable to that kind of stuff. Bubble gets popped by Banshee's Veil. Siege, not easy. As you mentioned, the Gangplank barrels. The wave clear is quite good. Critting the entire wave down, even with Baron buff, they still die pretty fast. And Dignitas ultimately cannot crack the base, but guess what? Or sorry, 100 Thieves cannot crack the base, but we're 2 minutes away from Elder Dragon, and 100 Thieves, as always, are probably going to be the first ones to get ward control.
I love it. This is what we want from a second place marquee matchup here. Plenty of wards left behind after keeping Dignitas pinned inside their base. But there's an easy pathway here for Dig, just resetting, selling off some of these smaller item slots. You see even there, upgrade here for Fake God, so he doesn't have to sell anything off, just upgrades to the Mortal Reminder, opening up another item slot here for some more control wards. Now they can group up, push forward for some vision behind this dragon, plenty of time for them to work with, and then you just play your range. That's the big advantage that Dig have in this comp. Range, range, range. Gangplank barrel change, Zoe bubbles throwing out, and Seraphine threatening any grouping of 100 Thieves members with that big ultimate. It dissuades 100 Thieves from grouping up in those brush to try and pull off one of those surprise combos. And while they do have to watch out for the Rel, Orianna, Shockwave, and Magnet Sword combination, they have a lot of options to go for.
Headbutt, pulverize, damage to FBI. He's got to be careful. Afro gets low into the backline. Who he finds a bit here, and now stopwatch got to be burned. Soligo running away for his life. He's going to stay alive for now. The flash away, and he cannot stay alive. Neo is gone, and the chase down's going to be beautiful. 100 Thieves already picked up 2. They're going to grab a 3rd, no problem as well. Dardoch going to drop on top of that one, and Demonte, he will at least die, but the Hecarim will still fall. Soligo, the only one left alone. Someday, Flash Chase, Prowler's Claw got picked up, by the way, sold the Stride Breaker, so everything else, he wanted to make sure he could really, really reach the back line. And now it is time to end the game. It's 4v1, 100 Thieves on the back foot for almost all of it. But they still found the way through. They're going to wrest control of 2nd place for now. They will reach 8 wins. Only TSM can match them today. 100 Thieves build a gap above Dignitas. Soligo will fall in the end. The Bud Light Ace comes through one final time, and 100 Thieves will knock down Dignitas, going up to 8 wins.
Look at those reactions, too. Right before it ends, you see Huhi just hands over his mouth right here. So intense. 400 Thieves. Demonte a little confused this time around. Whoa, we still got the win. Going through all the emojis. Honestly, closers turbo focus on these dragons. They actually sacrifice people's lives in some of these team fights for the early dragons that they were able to stack up. At the cost of giving over Dignitas some early and mid-game control, some more map game control, people's death timers, and yet they stick it out. They get the fight around the Cloud Soul and also turning that into the Baron in a critical moment here. Dignitas, close for them. They could almost taste it, but 100 Thieves putting them back down and taking that 2nd place spot for themselves.
Yeah, the more chaotic fights got, the more chaotic they got, the better it was. When Seraphine wants to hit in a straight line and Zoe wants to poke, and it's like, well, there's Renekton on this side and Olaf over there, and there's the Orianna, and, well, we're going to collapse onto you, and we've reached your back line. Neo tried to burn Summoners, tried to burn Zonias or a stopwatch, and yeah, he got his ult off and died right afterwards. So a well-played game to 100 Thieves. A well-played game to Dignitas as well. Honestly, really, really close battle. Looking forward to see more of these teams in the future. I'm pretty sure they're both going to be playoff bound, so we'll see BO5s on top of that one. But that's it for the game, of course. On the other side, Lit Tigers will be speaking a closer in our Verizon post-game interview, so we'll see you there.
Welcome back to the LCS, everyone. We've got Closer here to talk up that game for the Verizon post-game interview. Now, we saw some early skirmishes, some of them going the way of Dignitas, but what did 100 Thieves do here today to keep the game close?
It's just another 100 Thieves game, I guess. We started bad, and then we somehow managed to win the game because I think we got like kills on their side lanes, and we ended up playing the team fights better. That's how we came back. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel good at all to win games like this. Like, I definitely want to be a clean team, have like clean games, but win is a win, and we end up winning this game as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's still good to get the W's over in that column here. And while it was a bit of a kind of crazy game there in the middle moments, I just want to get your thoughts on what it is playing against Dignitas in this regard when it goes from something like that Baron play over to what we saw in the Drake pit.
Yeah. So I think Dignitas so far, I think we haven't lost to them. I cannot really hear you because someone is talking.
Yes, I believe we're having a little bit of a, not sure if that's going out to the audience right now. I know on our end we have some audio aspects going on. Apologies, Close. It sounds like it's a bit better now for both of us, though. So if you want to go ahead and reset. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, Dignitas, so far, I think when we play against them, they weren't really doing anything aggressive. So I wasn't expecting this much kill to happen in early game. I think we kind of pushed it ourselves with these Drake timers, starting Drakes. Apparently, it's not our Drake timers. So we end up giving some kills on that timers. We got caught sometimes. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting it to be this chaotic early game. But yeah, I guess it was a game. It was a crazy one.
It was a game there in the end that we all witnessed. I do want to bring the discussion a bit more to you specifically. I know you got to get a glimpse at the jungle tier list that our analysts were discussing during our LCS countdown. And I want to get your thoughts on that and where you think you currently stack up within the junglers in this league.
Yeah, I saw it actually. I think some of them are pretty cringe, to be honest. Like, it doesn't really matter what people think. Even if everyone thinks I'm the best or I'm the worst, I think I'm the best, and I'm gonna keep thinking that. I'm gonna work hard to be the best. So yeah, I'll just keep working hard, and I guess just answer the doubters, I guess, and yeah, play better.
I know that Demonte has said in a few interviews he still believes 100 Thieves are championship title contenders. Do you share that sentiment then?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
All right, that's what all of the 100 Thieves fans want to hear, Closer. Thank you so much for speaking with me here.
Thank you so much.
And with that, we're going to close things out here in the interview and send things over to the State Farm analyst desk.
Thank you very much. The Tiger is Closer, still confident that he's the best jungler in the league and looks forward to the opportunity to prove each and every one of you wrong in your jungle tier lists. Mark?
I gotta say, man, I agree. He's looking pretty cringe after that game. If you want a game to shut my ass up, that was a pretty good one to tell me that. So hats off to Closer. I mean, he was a beast that game.
All right. Yeah. I mean, and that was a game of League of Legends that we just watched, my friends, if I do say so myself. We've had quite a few bangers today, but 100 Thieves coming away with yet another heist primal right there on the LCS stage.
Yeah, man, look, it ain't much, but it's an honest win. You know, we just saw Closer saying it's not exactly the clean one we're looking for, but they did win. And I think here we saw some of the problems that Mark talked about earlier with 100 Thieves around PvP versus PvE. We saw them go for Dragon 3 times, right? And it was only on the 3rd time that they managed to get Dragon, and it seemed like they had some split focus on the call. So there's a lot to work on here, but at the end of the day, this team hasn't lost many games, and I think what we've seen is that even when they make mistakes, they're still able to close out games.
Right, so here is the second Dragon attempt that they actually did, and the reason they started it was because they saw Zoe back, but they don't look at Demonte's mana. He literally isn't a champion right now. Like, he has enough spells for 1 or 2. Even despite that, I think the play was okay had Demonte had a better ultimate here. But to me, this kind of shows that they're choosing poor Dragon timings. They have pressure in bot lane super heavily and pressure top, so they get to choose when they want to take the Dragon, right? They tried it at minute 4. It didn't work because they got engaged on. They try it again at minute 6 here, and they try to engage instead, and it doesn't work because the mid lane doesn't have mana. And then they try it again at minute 8, and it finally works because that's when they chose a good timing too. When you have bot lane pressure 24/7, you get to choose when you want to do Dragon, and they just have to choose better times to do it. And I think the first 2 times they just chose poorly.
And I think the bot lane pressure and even top lane pressure are really important things to highlight when you talk about 100 Thieves and what's kind of going on this season. They have some of the highest 4% in the league. Their bot lane is number 1. Some days about number 2, number 3, I believe, and it kind of fluctuates probably based off his champion.
Number 4.
And closer almost always plays Olaf or Talia or some really high-tempo jungler, and they use this priority and pressure to either force dives or go for the objectives, leaning more towards the objectives. And it's a really clear game plan, and they play it pretty well. And the reason that they are winning a lot of these games is because as the game goes on, they're able to force tough situations for their opponent where you're now sitting against Drake's soul point and these kinds of things. And that pressure allows the teams to make mistakes against 100 Thieves that they punish. But the early game is still a bit of an issue. I mean, this game was 5 kills to 2 in favor of Dignitas at 15 minutes because they do still mess up a lot of their skirmishes.
Yeah, and some people might look at this game and say, look, there are a lot of mistakes on both sides. It was a complete fiesta, but it takes 2 to party, and Dignitas definitely brought their party game. Here we see a good play by Dignitas. We see a beautiful flash and engage by Afro, recognizing, okay, our win condition is kill Trist immediately or kill Orianna before she ults, and they created an advantage and a window to go for Baron after this. But here's where things go really, really wrong, and I'm not really sure what was going on with the comms. Dignitas, they realize they're up 5 men to 4. They have control over Baron. All they need to do is send Afro to zone out the rest of the team. But I think once they manage to get a pick on Damonte, they go a little crazy. You see Dardoch ulting over the wall out of the Baron pit for no apparent reason, and that's a huge throw at that point. So I think Dignitas, we've seen that they're pretty good at skirmishing and they know how to create opportunities for themselves. But when it comes to these big objectives, like the Dignitas Baron meme is a meme for a reason, they kind of lose their heads.
I like the call, obviously. You get the kill on the bot lane. Both the AD carry and the support are dead, and that gives you a window to do something. The only objectives that were up was Dragon or Baron. I don't think the Air Drake does anything, so I like the Baron play. Had they done it a little bit better, like Alistar just punting the Olaf away and then they try to burst within that time frame that Olaf has to take to get back to the wall and then flash over, I think it would have been good. I don't mind that play that much. I just wish that they just focus on the Baron instead of trying to go for a kill.
And to be clear, I agree with you, Hai.
Yeah,
I think the Baron is
I was going to say, I think we're all on the same page. We like to call for the Baron. It was the execution around that Baron which left us wanting. And the reality is, in an LCS game, when you're that late into it, a mistake like that is all it takes sometimes for the opposing team to wrestle control. 100 Thieves having position around the Dragon. Dignitas went for their last-ditch effort of pushing down the mid lane, but caught now on the flank. It's 100 Thieves who comes out on top. Someday just beasting it as a front line here.
Someday was an absolute monster this game. He had a huge CS lead over Fake God. They had a lot of wards to allow him to push, so even when Closer wasn't there, you saw Fake God back away from the turret and like barrel chain farming and ult farming because he was afraid to be underneath his turret. And then he had huge flanks in team fights. And again, this comes down a lot to the objective control that 100 Thieves had, because right before that, they lost that Baron buff that they got trying to get another Dragon. They actually almost got aced again. And it came down to the fact that when it came to the soul point, that's when the enemy team starts feeling pressure and they go for like this mid trade, and then it becomes a breakdown in communication.
Yeah, one thing, and this is actually something I'd like to hear from Hyatt and Mark on, is we've actually seen 100 Thieves not be on a global mid several games in a row now, and they've looked commensurately weaker. This game, TF did get banned out, so there were some options taken away. I'm actually wondering if we think that 100 Thieves is intentionally not playing global so that they can have a more well-rounded set of strategies come playoffs, or if we think that they're having issues and it's not really tied to issues in the mid lane. Or issues with their picks, rather.
Thoughts from either of you?
I would...
I'll go for it.
Okay, I'll go. I would say I don't think it's a global issue. I mean, like when they had the globals more in week 1 and week 2 with the Talia and the Rise and Gallios and these kinds of things, with that pressure, they tried to go a lot more towards dives, and that wasn't working. So I don't know whether that pivot came because they want to add things to the repertoire or they wanted to actually use this pressure more for objectives. I'm not exactly sure where the pivot came from, but there's a pretty clear line between around week 1 and week 2 where all these dives turned more into objective plays.
Final thoughts?
I would just say that the meta changes slowly. Most teams haven't been picking the globals anymore. I haven't seen very many Twisted Fates or Gallios as of recent. So it's not just a thing that's specific to 100 Thieves. A lot of people are just picking strong scaling control mages mid because they've realized that jungle support is so broken, and if you just help them out, they'll get you to late game, and then you can take those team fights. So I don't know why they're not picking necessary Gal and TF, but a lot of people just aren't playing anymore. Not just Demonte, but most teams aren't.
Well, in that battle for second place, it was 100 Thieves who came out on top. TSM still yet to play. We're going to take a quick breather before we return, where CLG are going to take on that rising TSM. We'll see you here.
Change of